So here this is so cool. This is absolutely amazing. I'm not going to do anything corny. I'm just going to show this off. I just got this in. This is the Surging Sparks binder from the Unlucky Collector for our Fan Clan giveaway. The Danny Phantump Fan Clan Master Set for Surging Sparks is going to go in this binder right here, and then it's going to be given to one lucky subscriber. This is absolutely phenomenal. The Unlucky Collector, you can find him on Instagram. I will leave a link in the description down below. He has been doing this for every set for the last several sets. We've been giving away an entire master set. So we'll get Surging Sparks this weekend sometime, and we'll start working on building the Fan Clan master set. We give away a master set every single set release. It's all going to go in this beautifully etched custom binder with the Danny Phantump logo up here. We've got the set logo right here, the Terra Pikachu. It's got the set symbol and SV8 over here, and then it's got the Latios and the Latias on back. This is absolutely stunning. Way over the top. Huge shout out to the Unlucky Collector. So this is going to go to one lucky subscriber. All the details will come next week. We should have the master set built already next week, and then we will give it to one lucky person. So thank you so much to the Unlucky Collector, and good luck to all of you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. I love you guys so much. And then I'm going to sell out real quick one more time. I just did this last video. Fanny, stop selling out. But it ties into today's video a little bit. So this is our new Japanese store. This is KurosioShop.com. There will also be a link for this in the description below. We have Terastal Festival booster boxes on sale right now on pre-order, $57.99. A little bit more expensive than what I would like. This is the cheapest that I could find, unfortunately, for buying a bulk amount, and it was very, very difficult. I talked to a lot of different people, but $57.99. So those are on sale right now. These will ship to you a couple days after release. So we will get them shipped to us on release day, and then we will ship them to you. You can check out KurosioShop.com for all your Japanese needs. We've got a bunch of fits on there, a bunch of different plush on there, blind boxes, things like that. And things are getting updated all the time. We have card sleeves. We have play mats that are coming in. Just bookmark it. Keep looking at it. But more importantly, Terastal Festival on sale right now. And the reason that I wanted to bring that up, my hair is getting super long. We need to get to 200,000 subscribers sooner rather than later. So share the channel because then Killa can cut my hair finally. We're going to talk about something, the Pokemon card boom. And there was something that was posted. This is kind of like a smorgasbord of information that I'm going to provide. But mostly it's good information that all kind of ties together that I think is just really important as we get closer and closer to the release of Surging Sparks, and then inevitably what is coming next year, because next year is going to be absolutely nuts. So here we can see Surging Sparks right here. This is the booster box. This is a TCG player right now. Current market price on a Surging Sparks booster box. This set hasn't even released yet. It won't release until next week officially. Has already climbed up to $143.57. We have not had this happen I don't even know the last time we have had this happen with a new set. Like Twilight Masquerade did get expensive relatively quickly, but not this quickly. It was still readily available right around release day, and I know $143.57 is still below MSRP. You're still looking at about $20 below MSRP, and you can actually go to GameStop if you're a pro member right now. I think even if you're not a pro member right now, I think GameStop still does have booster boxes on sale for like $130, so you can still find them cheaper than this. But the demand for Surging Sparks is getting to it is very, very insane. It is very real, and I think that is because of the cards that are coming in. There's a lot of hype surrounding it, a lot of FOMO surrounding it, and it's only going to get more, and that's kind of what this video is all about. It's only going to get more as we enter into next year, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming out next year, including Terastal Festival, which is going to be our January set. We have a half set that's coming out in January called Prismatic Evolution. That is going to basically be Terastal Festival. It's a high-class set, which means in Japan, all the booster boxes, every single pack, it's 10 packs in a booster box, every single pack is going to have at least one ultra rare, and we are going to have a lot of focus on the evolutions. There's probably going to be some special illustration rares with some of the evolutions in this set. Obviously, a lot of Terra Eevees, which has a lot of people excited, a lot of people not very excited. High-class sets have gone either way, right? Like we had Shiny, we had the Shiny Star V, the first kind of high-class set that really saw a huge boom, where there were booster boxes that were selling for about $100. V-Star Universe was another example of a high-class set that did really well. But then you have a set like Shiny Treasures, which they have done a much better job of printing now to demand and meeting that that demand. So the jury is really out on Terastal Festival EX. So just be careful. Like, obviously, don't overspend. You can get a booster box from the Pokemon Center in Japan if you set up like a forwarding mailing address. I don't know exactly how that all works, but there's been some great YouTube tutorials on how to do that if you want to get one for MSRP. But as we near the Surging Sparks release date, which is next week, and more hype and more FOMO kind of hit the shelves, be careful. And we'll talk about restocks in just a second here, some of the restocks that are coming. But Surging Sparks definitely starting to make a lot of noise. And then moving into next year, and the reason this is the potential for a boom when it comes to Pokemon is there is because there's some really in-demand sets that are going to be coming out next year, like in March of 2025. We have Scarlet and Violet 9, which we have not gotten a name for as of yet, but we know it's going to be the trainer Pokemon set. So like the N Zoroark, Lily's Clefairy, those are a couple cards that we got released as teasers at the World Championships in August. We saw artworks for all those. N's Reshiram, there was some really cool artworks, a lot of excitement, kind of throwing back to the Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge days, where you have these owner Pokemon, these trainer Pokemon that kind of feature the potential of even tag teams returning, which has a lot of people really excited. And then May of 2025 is going to be Scarlet and Violet 10, which we have already heard and seen a Glory to Team Rocket set that is going to be coming out in Japan. So something that's going to throw back to like a Team Rocket set. Team Rocket returns. There's a lot of hype and a lot of excitement behind where Pokemon is going. And that's why you need to be really careful as we move forward, because there's going to be a lot of FOMO, there's going to be a lot of content, and there's going to be a lot of hype that spreads throughout. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video, but you really want to make sure that you are careful moving forward. You don't want to get taken advantage of. You don't want to lose yourself or anything like that. It's really important to be excited about it, but also enjoy it because there is a lot of exciting stuff that's coming. And the last thing you want to do is overspend or overcommit or anything like that, especially with all the noise that is undoubtedly going to happen. So restocks, there is going to be more Pokemon cards coming, especially as we near the holiday season more and more. Now, I don't think it's going to be enough to meet demand. We've already seen a lot of information regarding the 151 bundles or the 151 tins that are getting released at Costco, or that have already started to make their appearance at Costco, especially online. Now, they sell in and out of stock relatively quickly. Your best bet is probably going to be to go to your local Costco and see, or check around to see if they have any restocks that are coming. And then obviously we have the Blooming Waters collection box that's coming out in February. So 151 aside, we're not really going to talk about that. But there will be more products coming, and nothing that's really going to jump off the shelves. Surging Sparks, obviously more booster boxes will be coming at some point in time in the near future. That's going to ease the pain a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough to meet up with demand. So your best bet, if you don't have booster boxes pre-ordered for Surging Sparks, is maybe just let the dust settle a little bit, maybe let things settle down a little bit. The great thing about Surging Sparks is, even though booster boxes are going to be a little bit tough to come by at lower than, that $110 or $100 price point of what a lot of people are comfortable paying, there will still be plenty of booster packs out there. Booster packs are going to have the same exact pull rates as booster boxes. You'll still be able to find sleeve booster packs in store for MSRP or at your LGS probably for even below MSRP. So there's still going to be a lot of opportunity to open packs if you want. Also, the great thing about this set is there is going to be a ton of it ripped. And when you have a lot of products that are ripped, usually that means that single prices fall relatively quickly. We've seen that before with a lot of different sets. So pay attention to the singles that you want in the set. Maybe make a list of those, and maybe you focus on saving up for Prismatic Evolution or something else that might come out next year. Don't overspend or anything like that. Stellar Crown Elite Trainer boxes, Stellar Crown booster boxes are going to keep the prices down a little bit. Not huge restocks that are coming, but more restocks that are coming. Twilight Masquerade Elite Trainer boxes, 3-pack blisters, build and battle boxes, and check lane blisters. Again, not necessarily booster boxes, but more product that is going to keep that average pack price, that booster pack price down a little bit. So I know booster boxes are a lot of fun to rip, and you have the sort of a feel of a guarantee when it comes to opening up a booster box as far as the amount of rarities and different pull rates that you might get. However, having additional ancillary products that come out and having restocks of those is important to kind of put out and pump out additional loose booster packs into the market. So maybe not necessarily focusing on booster boxes or anything like that, and just enjoying a small sample size or a small amount of packs that you can rip open to enjoy, and then focusing on singles is really going to be the best bet anyways to kind of make your collection budget go the furthest. Then we have Obsidian Flames booster bundles is going to help keep that loose pack price a little bit lower, and Temporal Forces 3-pack blisters. These are kind of the main restocks that are coming. A lot of these we don't really need, right? A lot of these we don't really need, but a lot of them are bundled together because of a restock of Surging Sparks booster boxes. So just be on the lookout for some of these things. And then they have not announced, we don't know what's going to happen with additional booster boxes. There could be more booster boxes that are coming. For example, in 2021, and I go back to this a lot, but I cannot emphasize this enough. We got a giant restock of pretty much every single booster box under the sun in end of 2021. And it came out of nowhere. It was all of a sudden, it was just at distributors' doorsteps. There was really no announcement from Pokemon. But there was another wave of Chilling Reign, more waves of celebrations, we knew there was going to be multiple waves of Fusion Strike, there was another wave of Vivid Voltage, there was another wave of Evolving Skies and Darkness Ablaze, so much so that it really crashed the booster box market and brought booster boxes all down below $100. And I'm not saying that's going to happen again, I'm just saying it has happened in the past. So the opportunity of it happening again is definitely possible. And right now, booster boxes, for the most part, outside of like Twilight Masquerade, outside of Surging Sparks, and outside of Paldea Evolved, are well under MSRP. Even the other ones are below MSRP, but the other ones are below, $110, $100 a booster box, still way below MSRP. Almost to the point where some of these, like Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces, even Stellar Crown, are basically wholesale cost plus shipping. So there's still a lot of good opportunities out there to buy booster boxes, but you don't necessarily have to go that route if you just want to rip some packs. There's a lot of loose packs out there with additional restocks. But with all this hype happening, and the main difference now between what we're going to see as far as a potential of a Pokemon boom. And you can let me know in the comment section down below if you think we're actually going to see this giant influx in demand in Pokemon cards, a Pokemon card boom again, is obviously that we are in a much different economical state now than what we were in 2020, 2021, where unfortunately at that time the pandemic was shutting down a lot of workforces, shutting down a lot of manufacturing, shutting down a lot of industries where they couldn't keep up with demand because supply was a huge issue, right? You didn't have people working as much. You didn't have the opportunity to print as much product at the time. So this is going to be a much different process when we do see this giant Pokemon boom, because Pokemon has already announced in the past, and they've put this out into the universe, that they will make sure that they provide enough product that everybody can enjoy opening up Pokemon cards. And it's not necessarily going to be focused just on booster boxes, right? Like that's kind of the key thing to remember here, is that it's going to be mainly like packs, like other areas of a set release to enjoy opening up booster packs if that's your cup of tea. Maybe not necessarily booster boxes, but there's going to be other product that is relatively available in the market. And that's something that I think Pokemon is going to stand by as we move forward into these next few sets that are going to be a bit more demanding. I saw this tweet yesterday, and I didn't want to, I blacked out the person's name. I didn't want to, I know they put it out there, but I didn't want to put it out there, put their name out there. There's nothing bad in this tweet at all, but it's just a good reminder, and I thought it was worth mentioning. I lost thousands of dollars making stupid moves as a Pokemon collector because investing during a Pokemon boom is risky. For example, I spent more than $1,000 buying amazing rare cards, and that collection is now worth less than $200 because I bought during the 2021 pandemic boom. And as we head into what looks like another Pokemon boom in the end of 2024 and into the new year, be cautious with your purchases and don't let the market euphoria trick you into making poor decisions. A collectibles market boom is a time to sell the investments you've been accumulating over the prior years. It's not a time to build new positions. That's how I lost so much money on amazing rare cards in 2021. I hope this message serves you as well as head into what is sure to be a crazy time in Pokemon. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that bottom part. That's up for you to decide. I don't know if it's like, I don't look at this as really an investment, and if you do, that's totally fine. And there's a lot of really great investing channels out there. If you're somebody who really gets into the Pokemon investment world, like, by all means, go nuts. You should enjoy Pokemon however you choose to enjoy Pokemon. And like I said, there's a lot of really good Pokemon card investing channels out there who will tell you what they do. They will tell you what they think is the best move. But the best thing you can possibly do is to do the research, listen to everything, but make your own decision. At the end of the day, this is your money. This is your decision. Don't make your decision based off of what made somebody else money. And that's kind of the key. Like, there is great information out there, but it is something that already happened. It's something that already happened for somebody else. So if you want to establish a pattern and you want to make a decision based off of that pattern, by all means, it's your money, go nuts. But the best thing that you can possibly do is listen and absorb information, but then ultimately make your own decision. Don't listen to somebody else, because at the end of the day, it's your money that's most important. Setting a collecting budget is very, very important. This person in specific was talking about buying a bunch of amazing rare cards, and we could tell right when Vivid Voltage originally came out that amazing rares, while they were being hyped and they were being pumped, they were relatively easy pull rates in a lot of booster boxes of Vivid Voltage, for example. They were relatively, the supply was relatively high. So watching those, like, unfortunately, making sure that you set a collecting budget is going to be very, very important. Avoiding FOMO is going to be very, very important. There's a lot of people who have been involved in Pokemon for a very long time, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people, or I guess fortunately, a lot of people who have not been involved in Pokemon for a very long time. There's a lot of people who came back with 151. There's people who are going to come back into Pokemon or come into Pokemon for the first time with Surging Sparks. So it's very important to understand that everybody is at a different level, helping each other out, making sure that everybody makes the best decision when spending their collecting budget is ultimately the most important thing. So as we head into the next one, this is a great tweet because it's just reminding everybody that there is a lot of information out there, but ultimately you're the one who needs to make the best decision for yourself. As much as it's great to try and make a quick buck or get rich quick, that's not necessarily always going to be the case. And the important thing to remember is that whatever you love about Pokemon is what you should stick to. Don't love something new because somebody else you should just focus on what makes you happy when it comes to getting involved in the Pokemon TCG. There's a lot of different areas in Pokemon that can be very difficult to navigate, especially when it comes to all the information that's readily available out there right now, and this gets talked about on YouTube a lot, and I've gotten comments before about manipulation. And Fanny, why do you always talk about manipulation? Because then everybody points to manipulation. I talk about manipulation when there is a clear indicator that manipulation is happening. So here's a few different examples here that I just wanted to highlight. There is not always manipulation going on, and I just want to make sure that that is clear, that this is not always the case. There are times where it could be a combination of just natural demand plus manipulation, or it's just natural demand. For example, 151, in my opinion, some of the products is more natural demand, whereas some of the products is more natural demand and manipulation following along suit with it. So there are a lot of different indicators to look at that are obviously true signs that something weird is happening. So in the first graph right here, Evolving Skies sleeve booster packs, for example, you can see in August of 2024, all of a sudden a giant amount of them sold, way more than what we're typically used to seeing when you're normally seeing 25 to 50 of them being sold on a weekly basis, and then all of a sudden 250 of them are sold on a singular week. That screams something weird is going on. And then all of a sudden it shoots up 115% and then gradually starts going down again moving forward. So that's a good example right there. Then we've got Morty's Conviction, the SIR. This happened with Ghastly. This happened with a lot of different illustration rares and special illustration rares, where all of a sudden after a set released, buyouts were happening relatively quickly. You can see in May of 2024, all of a sudden out of nowhere, 140 Morty's Convictions sold in the span of a week on TCG Player, and then all of a sudden it fell back down to 60 to 80. Now I know it was relatively quick after a set released, but obviously there's an outlier there where a lot of products quickly sold to try and it worked, right? It jumped up the price quite a bit, where it jumped up to a $90 card, and now here it is sitting at $34.16. And then the last one is Sandaconda V, the alternate art. This was a perfect example because during that time in May, we saw a lot of buyouts happen, a lot of things happen with alternate arts, where some of it probably was a little bit more natural, but some of it was clearly manipulation. And this is a perfect example of a situation where it was clear manipulation and it was clear FOMO that a lot of people were starting to buy out Sandaconda V alternate arts in an attempt to drive up the price, right? Like, so in May of 2024, you're used to seeing about 40 of them selling on a weekly basis, and then all of a sudden it quadruples on a singular week, where all of a sudden we have 160 of them selling, which is insane. And then very quickly it falls back down to earth. So paying attention to the amount of sales, paying attention to the resources that are available to you are a great way to make sure that you don't overspend on a specific product. When it comes to buying products, it's also very important. These are just a couple examples up here of things that I think are really important. So I had a situation recently, and it doesn't really matter. This is kind of the big thing right here, PayPal goods and services. If you're buying Pokemon cards now, I'm always going to recommend you buy from a legitimate store that you have worked with in the past, whether it's an LGS, whether it's our online store, whether it's going to a retail store, a brick and mortar store. It doesn't really matter. Buying from a legitimate store is always going to be your best bet. But if you're somebody who's out there, you're looking for for deals, you're wheeling and dealing, and you're on Facebook or you're on Discord, it is always the best move to pay with protection. No matter what, no matter how much you've done business with somebody in the past, no matter how well you know somebody, goods and services is ultimately there to protect you. And if you don't pay that way, it's going to bite you in the butt. There's a lot of different scams that go around out there all the time. And in these economical situations, people try and take advantage, especially when you see booms like this. It's always a good reminder to make sure that you are careful with your spending money, regardless of how many times you may have worked with somebody in the past. I have had issues before where I've bought out a collection before from somebody and somebody just sent a bunch of bulk Pokemon cards instead. That way they could verify and input the tracking information, and I would not have been covered if I did not use goods and services and could possibly explain everything. I've had situations before where I have worked with a singular person multiple times throughout the years. I'm talking about like a dozen, 15 times where I have purchased from them before, and then all of a sudden they hit a point in their life where they're like, hey, I have to take advantage of this situation right now because I'm in a situation right now that's really bad, and unfortunately that just means I'm going to have to steal. And if I would not have paid goods and services, I would not have been covered. So it's always important to make sure you cover yourself with goods and services. If you're somebody who really gets involved with graded cards and things like that, you always want to verify the cert number right up here. There's a cert number on graded cards that you can type into the database to make sure it's a legitimate case, make sure it's a legitimate slab, and make sure you are buying the card, not necessarily buying the grade. For example, this is a Mew Gold Star right here that it got a PSA 6. There was a bunch of different images you could look at. It's clearly not a PSA 6 at all, but it did get a PSA 6. You want to make sure that you're offering something that's involving the card itself, not necessarily the grade. And you always want to make sure the grade is legitimate at the same time. And then if you're somebody who's newer to Pokemon, you really want to make sure that you are careful where you are buying Pokemon cards from. There's a lot of different websites out there that are great and a lot of different websites that are not so great. These, unfortunately, the top line right here is all just off of Walmart. You can go to Walmart, you can search for Pokemon cards. Right here, this is a legitimate listing. You're buying Pokemon TCG random booster packs, a pack of 4. You get 4 booster packs, you pay $18. Not terrible, right? A little bit above MSRP, but not much. And you see the image and you're like, whoa, I can get a Breakthrough pack, I can get a Shining Legends pack, I can get a Burning Shadows pack, I can get an Ultra Prism pack. And if you look in the description, it does not say that all it says is it's going to be a random assortment. It doesn't say that you're not going to get the booster packs pictured. But then you look at reviews and it's all Scarlet and Violet base, Obsidian Flames, and it's just all modern era Pokemon cards. So usually the general rule of thumb is if it looks too good to be true and it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. A lot of people try and figure out the best deal that they can possibly get, and you really want to be careful where you're buying. Obviously, these are fake cards right here to a lot of trained people, a lot of people who know what Pokemon cards look like. But if you just type in a Pokemon Secret Rare, which is what a lot of kids like to collect, this is what pops up, and you have to be really careful because these are obviously not legitimate Pokemon cards. And while you and I may know that, a lot of people who are new to the hobby or who might be buying for kids may not know that. You've got flashcards that are up all over the place on Amazon, on eBay, and on Walmart, on Target, where they are clearly very, very shiny cards that do not resemble what an actual legitimate Pokemon card looks like. But you see it and you're like, whoa, I can get 100 pieces, 100 shining cards. My son or my daughter loves shining cards, or their friends love shining cards. That's great, but these are not real. These cannot be used in gameplay. These should not be used in trading because they are obviously knockoffs and fake cards, but they're not advertised as fake cards by any means. So you have to be really careful, and then you have to be careful where you find these good deals from, like an Evolving Skies booster box, which kind of looks like Evolving Skies booster box, but if you've seen enough Evolving Skies booster boxes, you know there's issue, and you know you're not paying $2.99 for a booster box. So don't ever think you found some special website that's all of a sudden just looking to offload inventory, and you see this unfortunately on targeted ads and things like that. But you really want to be vigilant, and you really want to be careful, especially as we move into a time where there's going to be an upwards demand of Pokemon. So I wanted to throw all this information out there so that way everybody could be careful and make the best decisions when it comes to spending your collection dollars. I know it's a little bit different than focusing on the market, but there's a lot of scary times ahead and a lot of fun times ahead. So we want to make sure that we move forward and we have a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy the content. If you did, hit that subscribe button down below so I can get a haircut and you can get entered to win next week. I think we'll do the video where you enter for this Surging Sparks Master Set. But thank you guys so much for everything. Leave a like, leave a comment. You know what to do. You guys are awesome. I love you. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Until next time, peace.